Matteo. I have been doing e-commerce for 10 years, and we sell on Amazon. We do a wholesale arbitrage model, distribution model internationally. And we started hiring with Udalenno 2 years ago, and after 10 years of e-commerce, and it has been one of the biggest factors that has helped us grow a lot.
And how many years your company exists?
So I've been in e-commerce for longer, but with the company it was about 10, 11 years. 7 of those years on Amazon. And
Yeah. And have you were hiring before you started hiring with Udalenno?
People hiring. Yeah. We were hiring mostly in the Philippines, but we also hired some people in Brazil, some people in Europe. So we had we had part-time, full-time. We hired many different roles,
Yeah, and was it difficult hiring?
I personally never liked the hiring process because I'm not patient. I'm not a very detailed-oriented person. And so going through a lot of CVs was very painful for me. Then also all these there's good candidates. Obviously it comes out some good candidates, but there's a lot of bad candidates. Those, if they have your WhatsApp or your Skype, some of them keep writing me like years and years after we had employment with them. So for me, it was quite painful, and it was more painful because when I need to hire, especially when you're a small team, it's because you're already overwhelmed. And so you don't have that time to hire. So you have to make these choices between hiring and working, and it becomes a bit stressful.
Yeah, I can imagine. And what kind of roles you were hiring before?
So we had operations people. We hired research, data entry. I actually tried a couple managerial roles, but they didn't work out. And one of the things that at the time I saw, one of the things that was limiting us from growth was that I couldn't find the people in the quality I wanted for the price that I was willing to pay. In the commerce business, you always need money to grow. And so if you spend a lot in salaries, you don't have money for buying more products, and so you can't grow. So you can have good people, but not capital to grow. Of course, we have debt, but you can only indebt yourself to a certain level. And so this was kind of like chicken and egg problem until we figure out we could get the people that we wanted at the salaries that we could afford, and lower actually than we thought. And that's made us in a completely different trajectory.
Yeah. And you said that before you were hiring mostly in Philippines, right?
Yeah, that was one of the big places. Yeah, but I had a guy from Pakistan for a time. He was great, actually. So,
do you see a big difference of employees from Eastern Europe and employees from Asia and some of those countries you hired before?
Well, definitely the time zone. I was never a believer in making people work at night. I don't think it's fair to them and their health. Plus, I think it's difficult to find people that work very productively at night, when all their families is living through the day and then they have to sleep through the day. You can never sleep as good during the day. So with that, for example, the Filipino worker I had, she was finishing work at my 1 p.m. And after many years of work, it was okay. Not ideal, but it was okay. But the new employee that finishes at 1 p.m., that's hell, because you need to teach them and you need to interact a lot. And that was very difficult. Culture-wise is a big difference too. Filipinos tend to be, and again, it's an average, right? So not every person is the same in every country for sure. But Filipinos tend to not say no. So they might not want or be able to do something, and they just try for longer and longer periods of times and just don't come back to you with an answer. They are very non-conflictuous. They will not tell their opinion as much. And there used to be a lot of internet problems. It has gotten better, especially depending where in the Philippines you hire. But at the beginning, it was a lot of internet problems. And Eastern Europe, I find they have a more close to a Western mentality in terms of work. I think as a whole, if you're going to date an Eastern European, it's not exactly Western mentality, but like to work is like Western mentality from 15 years ago. So they are more committed to the company, committed to work. They don't have this new trend that happens in the West now of fulfillment and all that. And I want to work with what I love. So they're just willing to work and willing to do what it takes, which I think is good in the place where we work. They seem to be better with numbers, but I'm not sure if I'm very qualified to say that, because I also wasn't using a recruiter. Well, I tried actually a recruiter in the Philippines, but I wasn't as in contact with a recruiter there. So I think there's people that are good with numbers in the Philippines too.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the main things that I could say. Yeah.
Super interesting. And do you see a big difference from the first time you hired with us? It was back in 2019. Do you see a big difference how your company looks like now?
Totally. Well, actually, super recently, is about a month and a half. I'm finally doing something that I've been wanting to do since the beginning of the company. I started this company based on this book, The 4-Hour Workweek. I read it. I was like, wow, this is the life I want to live. And he talked about outsourcing everything. And the difficulty I had is that it was very difficult to outsource higher level work, difficult things. So I kept doing it. And even though there were periods that worked less hours, the company still, the core processes still depended on me. Now, the difference now is that most core processes are not dependent by me anymore. And so we hired the chief operating officer, we hired a lot of people and managed to really outsource all the things. Of course, there was a lot of training and it took time. It wasn't something immediate. There were some roles. I think there was one role, there was a big breakthrough that you helped us understand what was the perfect kind of people that would know. So we needed somebody that knew a lot of numbers. And we realized that we needed, we called the position of financial analyst, even if depending how you look at it, it's not really a financial analyst, but the fact that we attracted those profiles, it were people that really could handle the kind of numbers that we needed to handle.
Yeah, we found out that keywords are a very important part of the job postings, and it can change everything. And it's like one of our hacks that we can say that changed many things in the processes. And what do you think, what is the best part which you like the most about working with Udalenno and with our processes? Maybe you can mention something.
Well, one of the things is that before, so we had one hiring agency, but it was like they were kind of like picking stuff from the CV. The CV had the specifications we needed. I think Udalenno does a much more comprehensive job of helping you design a test. We design it, but you guys help administering that test, which is a lot of work. So the test has been really good. And so the whole process and the fact that you're always open to improve the process, to go beyond and we're trying to imitate the techniques of very expensive companies like, top books on Amazon and top articles about hiring. So we're trying to imitate really big companies in a small company format. And I think that's game changing because we don't have the budget to hire some of these agencies. And so I think the price quality is really good. I think that's what I like the most. And the fact that the hiring process can run at the same time as we continue our work. So we do have to give inputs to the hiring process because we are the experts of our own company. But a lot of stuff runs without us, which allows us to continue our day-to-day operations without being burdened by hiring.
Yeah, thank you so much, Matteo. It was super useful, super insightful. And I would like to remind that you can book a consultation with us and we can talk about your company, your problems, and maybe some issues you would like to solve with hiring and think how we can help you to hire in Eastern Europe. Also in the future, we are planning to hire in other countries, for example, in Latin America. For now, we are mostly focused in Eastern Europe, but still. Thank you so much, Matteo.
Thank you.